Brandon Lee must save Ernest Borgnine from the Soviets before he is forced to convert a stolen diamond into a nuclear weapon.
The fuck is this? Welcome back, ladies, gentlemen, and however else you wish to self-identify, to another episode of The Fuck Is This? The show where we take a look at the most obscure movies that are out there. Movies that make you pause, stare directly at the cover, and say, what the fuck is this? Who made this? Why did someone get out of bed in the morning specifically to make this? I'm your host, Kaz Lesgard, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Jameson Rafter. How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you, Kaz. Good to see you again.
Good to see you again. What's been going on in your life, man?
Interesting things. Last Friday, I rappelled down the side of a building for charity.
I saw that. For charity, I saw those photos on Instagram. That looked awesome. You've never done that before?
I've done, sort of death-defying stuff before, parasailing and
Right.
ziplining up in Whistler.
Right.
Never done anything in the urban setting. Never, had a Spider-Man moment, if I could say. It was organized through work, about 5 of us on a fundraising drive. We reached our drive, and as a result, we rappelled down the side of the Guinness building, a 23-story building in downtown Vancouver. And I was terrified every moment of it.
25 stories.
Yeah.
God, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You were but there was no chance for error or anything.
No, I mean, the harness and the safety mechanism is pretty idiot-proof, and believe me, I made sure that it was.
Is it like skydiving? Like you were rappelling down the building, but there was another more experienced person strapped to your back?
No,
it's all you.
It's all me.
Wow.
The way that it worked is that I was feeding a safety line through a carabiner, and it went through another a belay and another harness system. And there was a locking mechanism put in place that would kind of stop on a dime. So even if I overshot it, it would prevent me from falling to my death.
Wow.
That said, I was still terrified, and
Nice.
getting off the ledge at the top floor of that building was one of the hardest and scariest things I had ever done in my life.
Did you just jump for it, or was it more
No.
just dipping your toe into the...
What they instruct you to do is stand on the ledge of the building, your back facing towards the ground, and they tell you, okay, now just lean back.
Because it's easier that way because you can't see.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm clutching onto the safety bar at the top there, and there's this I want to say a kid. This guy who's in his early 20s. He probably weighs half than I do.
But he's probably been doing this since he was 12.
And he was super confident.
Yeah.
I was a nervous wreck during the
Yeah.
whole thing. And he said, "All right, so let go of the bar." Okay, I said. All right, so let go of the bar. Okay, yeah. Let go of the bar, man. And it took me about 5 stories before I started getting really comfortable with it. And after that point, I just, I felt relaxed and confident enough to bring out my phone for a couple of selfies. But
wow.
Yeah, of course, by that time, I was the 30th person to go down the building that
I was
day.
going to ask.
So, everyone in the office was they weren't waving at me. They were paying me no mind.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
They had moved on to snacks at that point.
For me, it was the most exciting thing that I've done in months. And for these, it was just another jackass who's just disrupting the workday. It probably took about I want to say 15 minutes to get to the side or get to the bottom of the building. No, they said it would be 15 minutes. It took me about 10 because once I was going, I was I don't want to stick around for too long up here. I was that much of a nervous wreck.
Well, that is fascinating, and also I now know that there is a word called carabiner.
Oh yes, isn't that a delightful word?
Which really sounds like it's two different slurs just mashed together.
Well,
it's
what is a slur?
If
I
I
won't
was
say
called,
which one out
if
loud.
I was called a carabiner, I would be so offended
insulted
before realizing that I'm white and you can't hurt my feelings. Yeah, indeed, yeah.
Interestingly enough, the Mexican consulate is actually in that building.
The Mexican consulate is in the building. You're just rappelling down the side of the building, and they're just screaming at you, "Grab the carabiner! Grab it!"
What?
The carabiner is stuck! I don't know what it is. I don't know
Not
if it
like
can
that.
get stuck.
Stop saying that word.
Someone just opens a window, just, "Hey!
Yeah.
What'd you say?"
And they
It's like
come
the
up with
ambassador of Mexico.
pair of scissors trying to cut me down. Totally justifiable.
That's just good fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. Well, yeah.
How have you been?
I've been fine. I haven't done anything remotely excited on
It's
that.
death-defying.
I was on a movie set,
That's
so
right,
that was
you
actually
were.
pretty interesting. I filmed a Hallmark movie.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, I did.
Are we allowed to talk about that? So
Yeah, I think I'm allowed to talk about it.
Ooh.
They didn't make me sign a non-disclosure agreement or anything. It was cool for me. I think it was just a very normal day for everyone else there.
Mhm.
It was a Hallmark Christmas movie. I just played a guy who was putting up some Christmas lights, and I come around the corner with a ladder and a big chunk of Christmas lights in my hand. I go up to the main actor and I say, "Hey, I'm gonna do this," and then I off camera. And that's basically it. That's my entire part, and we spent the better part of 6 hours just doing that and filming that from different angles. But everyone else there was far more experienced than I was, and people were just pros. I was in the scene with this little girl who I later found out is the sister of a kid from Room.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, that
wow.
whole family is acting.
Family of thespians.
And just like her brother, this kid's a little pro. And we did this scene over and over again, and just midway through with no direction, she just starts changing the line.
Really?
She starts changing the line. She starts like throwing things out and everything.
All
like
the confidence in the world.
All the confidence in the world.
Meanwhile, you, a grown man, on like.
I'm just kind of like, I have to say this. I have to hit my mark. I have to not look directly into the camera. A million things buzzing through my head. Which is a good lesson. I feel like everyone should act like little kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the truest sort of acting. Yeah, but I didn't really feel like the first time actress in Reach Me, it was just like, can I just add some pizzazz to this? Can I just like change this up? I'm like, it's your first day, cast. Like, let's.
It's the seasoned old Hollywood pro, just taking you under their wing.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, this business, it can be, there's some amazing highs and amazing lows.
Yeah.
Like, wow, thanks, little girl.
Yeah, exactly. She's just jaded by that point. Yeah, just doing that. Speaking of movies, we should go into our movie for the day. Now, on the last episode, our movie was something that I chose, and what I consider what the fuck is this type of movie is I like to go for the movies that have established, well-known actors in them, but despite that fact, you have no idea what movie this is.
If I may, it's familiar actors in a not familiar film.
Indeed, that's a great way to. Yeah. That's how I will describe that. Going on from this point.
Put it on a t-shirt. Yeah. Hashtag.
But Jameson, we got our first t-shirt. That was easy. Episode 2. That was great.
Coming to an Etsy store near you.
Jameson, you have a different sort of approach to this whole what the fuck sort of movie watching thing that we have going on here.
Well, before we jump into that, I will say that like this film is very much in that vein, familiar actors in not so familiar films. Mm-hmm. But I love guilty pleasure B movies.
You're more into the grindhouse sort of.
In a way, yes. Yeah, like unintentional comedies. Like they had high hopes, these directors that exceeded their grasp, and it just like puts out a train wreck. And I love films like that, especially if I can, throughout like the entire bit of madness that I'm seeing, I can put myself into the director's shoes or in the mindset of the producer and figure, oh, is this what they were going for? Oh, they didn't succeed at all, but I appreciate the effort.
That's right. Jameson's take on The Fuck Is This Movies, my take on The Fuck Is This Movies. Both of them have something in common. They all have amazing box art. Just like the most incredible DVD covers you could possibly imagine. Mm-hmm. And one of the earlier times I was hanging out at your house, I was going through your DVD collection, and I came upon today's movie. Holy shit, you guys. As always, we will include a link to what exactly I'm talking about here. Today's movie is Laser Mission, which is starring Brandon Lee and Ernest Borgnine. And why don't you describe, Jameson, what exactly we're looking at here?
How unfair is it that Ernest Borgnine outlived Brandon Lee? All right, so this movie features a muscle shirt wearing Brandon Lee that was clearly green, and him standing in front of a green screen. And now we're looking at what is some firework effect, badly photoshopped, superimposed between the...
It looks like he's wearing a tank top made of stardust.
Yeah.
It's incredible, and he is becoming one with the universe. Mm-hmm. And they put his name on the shirt, so it looks like he's wearing a shirt with his name on it.
Yeah, a really bad bossing effect on the Photoshop artist, the graphic designer should be ashamed of themselves for this movie. Right. Unless it was like a 13-year-old child, in which, got to start somewhere, but does this not look like it was made by a 13-year-old child?
Also, Box is being incredibly generous. This is a paper sleeve.
Yeah, it may as well be a birthday card.
I've never seen a movie distributed in a paper sleeve before, other than like literally dollar stores.
Yeah.
Where did you find this?
A dollar store.
You found it at a dollar store. Well, that makes a ton of sense.
It was like, I have, what, $15 to spare. I'm just gonna rummage through like this DVD box, and it's got a sweet spot in my heart. I've seen this several times. It's a pleasure every time.
Well, why don't you give us a little bit of backstory on Laser Mission?
So, near as I can tell, it is about a CIA agent who works on commission and a lousy KGB agent, and they are assigned to find a German scientist before he is forced to convert a diamond into a nuclear weapon. Now, I'm no nuclear physicist, but I don't think that is even remotely possible.
Yeah, but I'm also not a diamond scientist either, but so who knows? Like, I'm sure that's happened in a James Bond movie at least once, where they've put a diamond or some kind of other massive gem in the center of... Because the thing about diamonds is that lasers reflect off of them, right?
Yes.
So I imagine this doomsday weapon is really just a way of multiplying the lasers, hence Laser Mission.
I see. Well,
yeah.
Won't you be disappointed? It is directed by a man named Bo B.J. Davis.
BJ.
Yeah, what a nickname, eh? Hopefully, didn't pick that himself.
I imagine, like, on set, like, the producers are just, like, angry at how, like, nothing is going right, and someone just comes out of their trailer screaming, "Where the hell is BJ?"
He is mostly known for stunt coordination, not so much for film directing.
Right.
But he's mostly known for his stunt coordination, including recent films like The Amazing Spider-Man 2, the one that killed the Sony franchise.
Well, it did have good stunts.
And As Good as It Gets, starring Jack Nicholson. Now, have you seen that movie?
I have seen that movie.
Can you recall any stunt work from that movie?
Greg Kinnear got the shit beaten out of him. That's a stunt.
Well, you have Bo B.J. Davis to thank
Bo
for that.
B.J. Davis to thank for that. That's right, yeah.
This film is written by David A. Frank and Philip Gutteridge. You know what else they've worked on?
Anything?
According to IMDb, nothing. This is their sole credit.
This is their only credit. This was their labor of love.
Exactly.
They toiled.
They poured everything that they had into this film, hoping that...
Either that or they just got super wasted on the weekend. They're just all like, we can fucking write a movie. What are you talking about?
Or Bo B.J. Davis was like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of doing stunt coordination. You! Write me a damn movie. Like, we got Brandon Lee. I swindled Ernest Borgnine into this. We got like 20 days to film it.
Well, Brandon Lee was not a thing at the time that this movie was made.
He didn't die yet.
No, he didn't. No, but he wasn't. This was one of his earliest movies. I'll just derail you super briefly.
Of course.
This is the only bit of research that I've done. As has been established about how we're doing this podcast, I have not seen this movie. I have no idea what's going on with this. I'm going into this completely blind. So I haven't done any research on this whatsoever. But I did look up a little bit more about Brandon Lee, because I'm not terribly familiar with his filmography. And I knew it was short, but I didn't realize it was as short as it was. He only has 10 films credited to his name. Some of those are guest spots on TV shows. Some of those are cameos. This was the second film that he ever made. The film he did before this was a film in Hong Kong. This movie was shot in South Africa, and it did not get an American release until after he died.
That totally makes sense.
Yep. And then shortly after this, he did Showdown in Little Tokyo, Rapid Fire, and then The Crow. And then it was all over.
That's all she wrote.
That's all she wrote.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose it was a big draw getting Brandon Lee, given who he was, given that he was Bruce Lee's son.
You would imagine with that kind of pedigree that he was going to be the next big action movie star.
Yes, and he very well could have.
Could have been, yes. The second top billing co-star is Ernest Borgnine.
Academy Award
winner.
Ernest
for Marty.
Borgnine.
Yeah.
I love Marty.
Marty's a good movie.
Marty's a great movie. I think it's one of my favorite overall Best Pictures, and it doesn't get mentioned with like some of like the huge ones or whatever, because it is a smaller film. But every time I see Marty, I come away, I have a huge smile on my face. I just think it's a lovely little film.
It is. I've heard that it was like a very sort of paint by numbers romantic comedy when it was first when it was first made. And the reason that it shot up to acclaim was because Ernest Borgnine, Marty, was not a conventional leading man type. He's not conventionally handsome.
But that's the whole...
And therefore, it endears it because it's a romantic movie starring some, not tens.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the whole part of the appeal of Marty, is that it's about a very unconventionally attractive man. I'm not going to call Ernest Borgnine ugly because that's just mean, really. But yeah, exactly. And it's about a guy who...
That'd be mean from here to eternity.
It's about a guy who thinks he's ugly and learns over the course of the movie that it doesn't matter because he found someone that he likes and he found someone that likes him back, and that's really that's important. So yeah, I think it's a lovely movie. Yeah. I think it deserves to be mentioned on more best of lists.
Absolutely. For all our younger listeners, if you don't want to bother watching an old movie, he's also the voice of Mermaid Man on SpongeBob. Our leading lady in this film is a woman named Debbie Monahan, mostly known for her TV work. She was on an episode of Seinfeld. Are you familiar with Seinfeld?
I'm not, but our listeners might be.
Well, to all you Seinfeld heads out there, you know that episode where Kramer goes to LA to become an actor, but then he gets caught up in like this, he's brought in for suspicion of murdering someone? She plays the lady who he's accused of murdering.
And now here's the part where I'll go, oh, that lady!
That lady, yeah. She's in
Did you buy it?
She's in one scene and then plays a corpse.
Am I a Seinfeld head? Did she die? They kill her in Seinfeld?
Yeah.
Wow.
That, I told you, as you said it for...
Seinfeld hates women.
They
killed that one. They killed George's fiance. I'm sure they killed more.
Oh, probably.
Jerry's got tons of dead women and dead women skeletons in his closet.
Probably good at the end of the show when they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And finally, the last little thing I'll mention, the music of this movie is written by David Knopfler, who was the brother of Mark Knopfler of Dire Straits fame.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir.
Wait, wasn't he also in Dire Straits? I thought that was like a brothers band. I don't know.
Anyways, it's the brother of Mark Knopfler.
All right, cool. The less successful brother of the frontman of Dire Straits.
The point is, when I was looking this up, I was not only amazed that Mark Knopfler had a brother, but that he did the entire stuff. Did he do music for... Is he like a film composer? Does he do music for any other movie, or...? He did, I forget what you call it, but, the title track for this movie. There's a song...
There's a song?
My God. There's a song,
man.
yeah.
I love a good, shitty movie theme song. They don't have those anymore.
No, it's certainly a lost art. Well...
they do.
You're gonna find that your cup runneth over with this movie.
They don't even have good closing music song. There might be one.
Ever since Will Smith stopped rapping at the end of all his movies,
I was excited because that new Eminem album just came out, and on it they were saying that one of the songs is going to be a tie-in to Venom. And it is.
Really?
He has a song on his new album called Venom. I'm all like, oh my God, wow. Eminem wrote a song about Venom? That's cool. I listened to it. He mentions Venom, once.
Yeah, contractually obligated.
Yeah, and then the rest of the song is about him. So I'm all like, well, this really isn't about Venom at all. So it's all, so that's going to be a letdown. But also what's going to be a letdown probably is that fucking movie.
Yeah.
Oh God, that looks terrible. Again, just going to date this episode like crazy. By the time you listen to this, it will be well established that
What kind of crazy accent is Tom Hardy trying this time?
I was about to say, you could say that about literally any movie Tom Hardy is in.
Yeah.
All right, great. So Laser Mission. All right, so we will go ahead. Oh my God.
Look at this DVD menu.
Okay.
Oh,
it
makes you long for the days of that envelope DVD box, right?
This is some choice Photoshop here.
We have two options: play movie or scene access.
Scene access. We're not even. Does that diamond go up and down?
No, just the highlight.
Oh, that's a lot.
The shade of salmon pink highlighting
missed
the text.
opportunity.
Oh,
Did you love how there's a guy with a gun inside that one guy's head there?
Oh my God!
It's just and it's several shades of orange.
Yeah,
that's incredible. I can't wait.
Yeah.
If this movie's half as good as the DVD menu,
believe me,
we are in for a treat.
It is half as good.
All right. Well, we're going to go watch this. Please enjoy this incidental music, whatever we end up throwing in here. And we'll see you in a minute. In 80 minutes, to be precise.
Yeah.
It's a very short movie.
Yeah.
So
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. And we're back.
Oh, are we ever back from our laser mission?
back from a laser mission in which no one ever fires a laser.
Not one goddamn.
Lasers are mentioned a couple of times, but yeah,
not in the way you would think.
No, not at all. Literally every other weapon under the sun you could imagine makes an appearance in this movie.
Yeah. Machetes, bows and arrows, a bazooka,
like various knives,
grenades,
but literally not one laser it factors into this movie.
In many ways, it's a very grounded movie, and in several other ways, it's not.
That was thoroughly delightful.
Wasn't it great?
I enjoyed that. That was the hardest I've laughed at something in a really long time.
Oh, it's a great action, like cheesy, like action comedy, but like it's funny because it's not funny.
No, it's not. It's clearly meant to have a sense of humor, but the things in it that are designed to be funny aren't funny at all, and the things that are meant to be taken seriously are screamingly hilarious.
Just so bad. It's so badly good.
So, all right. Let's see if I can recap Laser Mission based on having seen this just one time. So, all right. So Brandon Lee is a freelance CIA operative
somehow,
which I guess is a thing. Yes, despite the fact that he's in his early 20s.
Yeah.
Somehow he's a well, not a well respected, but like he's been doing this for a while.
Yeah,
clearly.
His superiors don't like working with him, but by God, he gets results.
God, he gets results somehow. It's exactly that. He gets results.
He just bumbles his way
somehow.
through.
So yeah, freelance CIA operative named Michael Gold, who we see go to. Now here's the first thing that really he goes to.
Where do you think this movie takes place?
A foreign country. Well, I was so confused for the first half of this movie because I knew going into this that this movie was filmed in South Africa, and it's very clearly filmed in South Africa.
Yes.
But from the first scene in the movie, it's not really established where the movie takes place. We see Brandon Lee get off of this plane and enter this building, and there's tons of African people everywhere, but there's also Cuban people and Soviet officials, and he goes into, I guess, like this passport office to let everyone know where he is, and there's like 5 different nationalities in this place.
He landed in Epcot, it seems.
And he starts giving like these passport officials sass and whatever, and he's all like, "Hey, where can I get some Cubans around here?" So I'm all like, "So is he in Cuba?"
To which the Russian military officer says, "You Americans with your sense of humor."
See, I love your sense of humor,
Yeah.
but then later, and midway through the movie, I looked up a synopsis on IMDb, and the synopsis I read, apparently they're supposed to be in Cuba.
That makes no goddamn sense.
You know what? Okay, here's the thing. Here's what I think happened. That opening scene was in Cuba.
That makes sense.
And
a lot of bit characters speak Spanish in those scenes.
And then later on in the movie, it takes place in South Africa.
Yes.
That was a different place. Okay, so what happens is he goes to Cuba because he has to track down Ernest Borgnine.
Supposed German.
Who plays a German scientist. Ernest Borgnine is an American treasure. He's an absolute delight. He's an award-winning actor.
However,
should not have been made to do a German accent in this. Well,
fucking Colonel Klink from Hogan's Heroes had a more convincing German accent.
Let's just listen a little bit to Ernest Borgnine's German accent here. This is the opening scene where he meets Brandon Lee for the first time.
Your people will keep me locked up for years. And while they pick my brains, the Star Wars program grows. And I will make my contribution to destroy mankind. No, thank you. I want to build, not destroy.
And it's kind of, you can see him trying a little bit. It's
a very nondescript, like, Eastern European dialect.
It's like he sat down and is all like, all right, how am I going to do a German accent? It's like, all right, step one, Germans put sort of like a stop at the end of every word they say. And he read that, it's all like, oh, that's probably fine, that's good, that's all I need to do.
They managed to pepper some of his dialogue with actual German phrases. Which,
and that's how you do a German accent. You throw in a German word every now and then.
Like, Scheiße.
Scheiße, and everyone, that's all like, oh, clearly he's a German, he's this German scientist.
Pacifist
who can make, is the only person who knows how to make a nuclear weapon out of
a diamond.
And some other parts.
Yeah.
And that makes him an asset to the bad guys, who are also German, who
employ Russians somehow. Yeah.
Yeah, there was some Russians in there too. I mean, that was the big problem is with Borgnine's German accent is when you put him up against other German actors, it just makes it more apparent. So anyway, Brandon Lee. Oh, also I want to talk about Brandon Lee's introduction.
Oh yes, please do.
Because I made you stop and rewind because I really couldn't believe this is the introduction to the hero of our movie. So it shows like a plane landing and then it shows a bunch of people going into this passport office or whatever. And so we see a bunch of people sort of file through the doors, like two people come in and then
camera pans to the left.
And then Brandon Lee comes in and he's just like a regular dude. He's wearing glasses. It takes a second before you recognize that that's him.
And he veers to the right.
And he's off camera. And then the camera
loops all the way
around, not following him at all.
Not following really any characters.
No, it's just it's shooting the wall at one point, and it shows everyone else file off into this room. And then he steps back into frame.
Yeah, it establishes on the passport office, at which point he kind of slinks his way and makes his mark at the last possible second.
It's one of the weirdest ways I've ever seen an action movie introduce its main character before. It's spectacularly incompetent.
We looked into this was like Brandon Lee's like one of his early movies.
This is his second movie.
And already he knows more about what the hell he's doing.
Oh yeah, he has this look on his face where the camera pans off of him. He's all like, "This isn't how you're supposed to do it." But all right, fine. I'll go hit my mark. I'll go do what I was told. I want to ask about something because I'm thinking about this. Okay, so that's the opening, but like the very very opening scene, we see the bad guys infiltrate. I guess this
like a museum exhibition.
A museum exhibition of this huge ass diamond, and they break in. And they steal the diamond and they gas everybody.
Like knockout gas.
But the latter half of the movie is the bad guys. They've got an African diamond mine. How many diamonds do they need? And if they had a diamond mine, why did they have to steal that diamond?
I can do you one better.
Okay.
If they have the resources to go about and steal a diamond. And the resources to kidnap, like, a scientist.
The only scientist
smart enough to convert that and, his technology to make a nuclear weapon. Why not just, I don't know, abduct some scientists who can either build a nuclear bomb or steal a nuclear bomb? Why go through all the trouble to get the only diamond in the world and the only scientist in the world to make yourself a weapon?
I wasn't sure why they needed that diamond, and if they had literally a mine full of diamonds. Surely,
just for the hell of it.
Because at the end, like the bad guy was Kalishnikov. He's just got a handful of diamonds that he's just throwing around. He's just throwing it at girls' titties. He doesn't even fucking care. Literally. It's all like, you have a handful of diamonds that's equal in size to the large diamond that you stole at the beginning of the movie. It doesn't seem to come together.
It's got to be that one diamond.
So, all right. So Brandon Lee goes to meet Ernest Borgnine. He says, "If you come back to America, we'll pay you a bunch of money. We'll give you whatever you want. You can be reunited with your daughter,
or you'll keep your like nuclear secrets a secret or whatever."
And they are
He says some of my two favorite lines to Ernest Borgnine in this scene. He says, "You are fond of birds," as a way to like get him to open up and relate.
That's right, because we hear a sound effect of a bird off camera, so clearly he must love birds. Brandon Lee is a student of human nature.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And then of course, they run afoul Eckhart, the German mastermind, who shoots Brandon Lee with like a tranquilizer dart that knocks him out. And
what was that, Eckhart?
Eckhart's his name.
Eckhart was the guy who shot them with the dart.
The guy who looks like the bad guy from Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah, they got like this. Yeah, they have like this
Peter McNichol looking guy.
He looks exactly like Peter McNichol. I expected him to just like sound like, "Here's Vigo! We must have diamonds for the master!" It was hilarious. Oh my god, that guy was great. We're gonna talk about him a little bit more.
So after that scene, we cut jarringly to the inside of some Cuban prison.
You can just say that about every scene in this movie. Like the script literally read "cut jarringly to."
Yeah, where we're introduced to Kalishnikov, like the Russian military general, Soviet general,
Eastern European bad guy.
Yeah, he's got Brandon Lee tied up in a cell. They say they have some tit-a-tat back and forth, but you can't really understand it because the fucking audio acoustics in that cell are just atrocious.
You can't understand any of this.
A goddamn thing that what he was saying to him.
Yeah, Brandon Lee has been caught for treason, the punishment of which is death at dawn
by
fucking guillotine. that Brandon Lee can see from his prison cell window. And he's all like, "Oh, we got this back in like the 1800s."
Yeah. Well, that Cuban embargo.
Which leads to one of my favorite lines in the entire movie, which I'm going to play.
The guard.
I'm going to play this gentleman's line reading is amazing. Just listen to this.
Ha ha, they're going to cut off your head, mañana.
They're going to cut off your head, mañana.
No, he audibly says, ha ha.
Yeah.
All of the extra work in this movie is incredible. Every extra, every barely paid extra who I'm sure got $100 and a hot lunch.
They either underact every scene or they overact every scene.
They are unbelievable. There was one point in time, there's a scene in a hotel near the end of the movie where they go off and they talk to this desk clerk. I'll play you a little bit of this gentleman's dialogue too. I don't know where they found this guy. You can understand the first thing that he says, but everything after that is unintelligible gibberish.
Check it out.
And you can hear it. You can hear him say things.
You hear like the insecurity in his voice as he's delivering
he's
line.
As the scene goes on, he's just kind of like, "What have I gotten myself into? I don't want to do this. I don't want to."
It's a total like, I'll get it on the next take.
Exactly. Take a listen to this.
Good day, sir.
Good day to you.
Lady, what can I do for you?
Well, my wife and I were thinking of going on a safari.
What a splendid idea.
We were wondering if you could recommend a guide for us.
Not offhand, but I will find one.
Well, what about that guy that, what was his name?
Eckhart?
Yes.
No. Eckhart, he has retired.
Oh.
And there are so many amazing extras. There's like that huge guy that just that can just like move his ear. He just does that for no reason.
As he looks all scally.
So Brandon Lee escapes from Cuba, I guess.
Yeah, in a great escape sequence. Like he's the guards would have to actively want to die in order for that escape to happen.
The one thing I'm going to say about this movie right now is we're going to give this movie a ton of shit. But the one thing I will say is that there are legitimately some great stunt work.
Yeah.
The great stunt work, good action scenes. There's plenty of moments that are ridiculous and don't make any sense and are dumb as hell.
Yeah, but like for the budget and the production value, there's some quality stunt work and action.
There really is.
Yeah.
You can tell that this was directed by a stuntman who knew what he was doing, who knew how to stage things. Other times, it's laughably terrible, but for the most part, it all kind of holds together.
The logistics for most scenes just fall apart like the second you give it any kind of mind. That said, what you're seeing is fine. Watch it and move on. Don't think about it too much. So afterwards, we cut to Michael Gold, Brandon Lee's character.
Can we talk about Brandon Lee for a second? His second movie in, he really hasn't figured out this whole acting thing yet.
No, he's supposed to be playing this sort of charming scoundrel, wise ass kind of guy.
And you never believe him for a second. And he talking about over exaggerating everything, Brandon Lee over exaggerates every scene that he's in. I counted the moments on one hand where he says a smarmy fucking line,
cocks his
eyebrows, and then he has this thing where he says a line, and then someone else is talking. At the end of his line, his face will just kind of morph into this smirk. So it's like you could add your own soundtrack into the movie, where at the end of every line Brandon Lee says, it's just him making the noise. Because that's what his face is making. Yeah. He's like
every line is either a mental giving a guy a middle finger or a mental arrow pointing at my dick. That's everything. That's his entire motivation
throughout the entire movie. Particularly at one point in time where Master of Disguise Brandon Lee puts on just a fake mustache just to fool these guards at one point. Yeah. I was struck by how much Brandon Lee kind of looks like Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
And I kept noticing it over and over again. And then I just got to the point of all man, Bruce Campbell should have been in this movie.
This totally seems like a Bruce Campbell kind of action comedy.
He killed this. Yeah, exactly. And if Bruce Campbell was in this, he would have gotten the comedy right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this would have been a much funnier movie if it was someone who kind of knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
A lot of this is going to be me shit-talking Brandon Lee. I kind of feel bad because he died under very tragic circumstances, but he's terrible in this. He is just you know what Brandon Lee reminded me of in this movie? He reminded me of that one guy from high school drama who was just the good-looking motherfucker who got all of the lead roles, and he was hot shit, and he knew it, and he was super nice, so you couldn't really even be that mad at him, and then he died, and then you couldn't say shit about him. Everyone has that guy, right? Everyone has that guy, right? No.
Was this person's name also Michael Gold, and I just opened up a fresh wound for you?
I haven't thought about Michael Gold in years.
Well, neither did Brandon Lee.
Neither did Brandon Lee, clearly.
To get back to the plot, he meets up with the U.S. Embassy with his two CIA agent handlers, who I assume have names. They said, we're going to send you to wherever to go after Ernest Borgnine's character, but because we don't trust you in your reckless ways, we're going to pair you with another agent, the daughter of Ernest Borgnine's character, who is a / veterinarian, and they very explicitly say that she's also KGB.
Right. Can German people be KGB?
In the KGB? I imagine so. They defect, or there's a sleeper agent,
right.
Or
Well, no, because, okay, so I just looked that up, and it's, the Germans have their own military police. It's called Stasi. So if Ernest Borgnine is meant to be a German character,
his daughter Alyssa should be
who has no German accent at all.
No,
by the way,
whatsoever.
I mean, there's an obvious reason why she doesn't, but I mean, we'll get to that at some point.
But the meat of this point is that they're saying we're going to pair you up with another agent, and she's also KGB, because if you want to have a very delicate mission carried out, it's best to send a CIA agent who works on commission that you can't trust with a goddamn KGB agent.
So she goes to, the name of the place that they go to is Kavango.
Why does that stick out to you?
Well, they say it a couple times. I'm all like, where are they? And then in one scene, it's just written on the side of a building. So I'm all like, oh, I guess they're in Kavango. They're in Nambia.
Nambia, yeah.
They're in Nambia, is where they are.
For the rest of this movie to make sense, it has to take place somewhere.
It is, and that's why I was so confused, because I didn't realize the two different places they went were meant to be different places. Also, okay, so, like, they go to Cuba. I'm doing air quotes here. They go to Cuba at the beginning of the movie. It's clearly all South Africa. All of the movie is clearly in South Africa. They go there. It's set in 3 different locations.
Yeah,
but
with
clearly
like 5
all
different
of it,
ethnicities in the entire movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But no, the latter half of the movie, the bulk of the movie, takes place in Nambia. It just took me an embarrassingly long time to figure it out. But in my defense, it's not really explained very well.
No, not at all.
And if
the cuts are so bad that like you can be forgiven to think that like this all takes place in one area. Like scenes that are supposed to be like days apart, they were clearly shot 5 minutes after the last scene wrapped up.
I love how shit like that happens. So at one point, Brandon Lee goes on a date with Alyssa.
Yeah.
And they're all dressed up.
Oh, do we want to talk about their first?
Yes. Okay, let's talk about their first meeting. Okay, so the thing you gotta know about Michael Gold is he is a master of disguise. To talk about that, we gotta talk about his second disguise before that. So he dresses up as
a Cuban military officer to parachute into the...
See, this is why I was confused, too. Because the main bad guys are Soviets, the evil scientist is German.
And the henchmen are Cuban?
And the henchmen are Cuban.
Yeah.
And they're all in Africa. So where the fuck are we? That's why I was sitting there the entire movie just going... So Brandon Lee jumps out of a plane in admittedly a really good shot.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like I'm watching this shitty movie and like there's just like this backlit nighttime shot of him or someone jumping out of a plane,
jumping out,
and you just see him
camera.
quietly go down. I'm all like, that's actually a very impressive piece
I wouldn't
of
be surprised it's from a different movie.
No, yeah, it probably was stock footage. And then he lands in the tree. So he dresses up as a Cuban officer.
Yeah,
lands in the tree, and this is the scene where we meet the two best characters in the entire movie.
I hate these
Jameson's favorite characters.
Manuel and Roberta. These two, like, low-level privates or something.
Yeah.
Oh, no, one's a sergeant. We'll get into that in a second.
So, yeah.
But yeah, there's these two bumbling Cuban military officers.
They're the comic relief bad guys. They're the bulk and skull of the movie. They're the comic relief bad guys. At the end of the movie, turn tail and join up with the good guys. And it's just this classic, like, you morons, everything like that. One of them is a woman.
Yes.
And
is clearly a woman.
Clearly a woman from the very beginning. Her name is Roberta. Clearly a woman from the very beginning. There's a scene where they drive their Jeep into the water.
Part of a car chase, like we'll explain later.
Then they get out, and like her shirt is sticking to her tits, and they're
soaking
just
through the
flopping
shirt.
around. I felt kind of bad for the actor, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. And then Manuel says, "Sergeant, you are no sergeant. You're a woman." To which she replies, "Loco, I have always been a woman." Obvious to everyone else except for that one moron.
This guy is supposed to be so dumb. He's not able to discern the fact that his buddy is been a woman this entire time.
Looks like a woman, like sounds like a woman when she speaks. These
characters are a treat.
Yeah.
So
Michael Gold steals their Jeep under the disguise of being a Cuban military officer.
Then he tracks down Alyssa, who is a veterinarian and also a KGB agent.
That's her cover, I guess.
Okay, so if there hadn't been that one scene where Michael's fucking boss or whatever offhandedly mentioned that she's a KGB agent, we wouldn't even be thinking about that. Why did they even need to include it in the first place?
Throughout the movie, Michael Gold will always he'll stop like the action, or whenever there's a downtime, he'll say like, "Who are you? Like you're an incredible marksman. You can outdrive everybody. Who trained you? Who are you?"
She's shit at hand-to-hand combat, though.
Oh, she's terrible.
She's not able to do that whatsoever. So yeah, there's this big mystery throughout all of it. It was all like, is Alyssa meant to be who she's meant to be? We were told who she was.
Like point blank before even introduced, like she's KGB. Like, they told Michael Gold that you're meeting with a KGB agent who is the daughter of... It just doesn't make any sense why he would be confused as what her identity is.
So Brandon Lee tracks down Alyssa, and his brilliant disguise for being able to approach a woman he has not met.
Mm-hmm.
He throws a shirt over his head. Have you ever seen a funny thing happen on the way to the forum?
I have a long time ago.
So you know, like, when it's all like, we need a soothsayer, and he just pulls his coat over his head, he goes, I am a soothsayer! Literally that. All he does, and he just goes up, and I shit you not, he says, alms for the poor.
Alms for the poor.
Like it's a fucking Charles Dickens novel.
Yeah. Alms for the poor.
And it works for like a second, and then she realizes how stupid it is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we got way off track, but what we wanted to talk about was how time means nothing in this movie. So they go on a date at a restaurant, which is really an excuse to get Alyssa into this blue dress
that she's in for the rest of the movie,
and Brandon Lee into a tuxedo. So there's shots of them later on getting into gunfights, and he's wearing a tuxedo, I guess, to make us think of James Bond, because that's what James Bond wears.
So over their romantic... Well, it's not even a romantic dinner.
No, it's not. It's them getting... It's them talking about what they're going to do.
He does drop, like, one of the... like, a very suggestive line, which makes no goddamn sense. Something to the point of, like, you put a price tag on women, and he says, no, I prefer taking them off. Which, like, I think I know what it's supposed to mean, but it doesn't even make a lick of goddamn sense.
I like buying women expensive dresses, and then I like taking a pair of scissors and cutting that little plastic doohickey off. That's what gets me off.
That's the closest thing that it could possibly mean. So after that, they say, oh, who's the one person the professor could have told his secret to? Like, she says his associate or whatever. So they go to his apartment, like, in the next shot, which, if they were on a dinner date, it was clearly the next day, and they're still...
If it was... They're dressed like they're meant to be having dinner.
And it's a dark restaurant.
But then the next scene, they're still wearing the same clothes, but it's the middle of the day. Mm-hmm. So, like, if that was a lunch date, they were overdressed.
Hell yeah. So they find the associate professor who looks a lot like Ernest Borgnine. He's dead. He gives them some clue in the desert.
It was so... Like, okay, how hard is it to find someone that looks exactly like Ernest Borgnine? So, yeah, they find, like, the professor's, like, buddy, and they, like, turn him over, and for a split second, they're all like, oh, they killed Ernest Borgnine. No, they just got someone who looks exactly like Ernest Borgnine. And the guy had one line. He was dying on the floor. They could have cast any actor.
Yeah.
They could have cast any of the random extras that they got. But no, they just, apparently all German scientists just look exactly like Ernest Borgnine.
I wonder if that was the first guy they gave the role to, and then somebody on the day of production said, hey, we got Ernest Borgnine.
We got Ernest Borgnine. How did we get Ernest Borgnine? I heard he likes being in movies.
Yeah, he's in town.
He really likes being in movies quite a bit.
Yeah.
He's in town. He just happened to be in South Africa.
I saw him in a bar. I asked him if he wanted to be in this movie.
Exactly. So then it's just about...
It's a car chase.
20 minutes of car chase.
Not bad.
Brandon Lee shooting people, and they die instantly. Like, he can just fire a gun randomly.
He's a crack shot.
5 people just, like, throw themselves into the air.
Mm-hmm. Some of the, like, there's one scene where, like, one of the bad guy cars chasing him just, like, drives straight on off a dock into a wall. Like not swerving to, like, miss a boat or anything, but, like, straight on just drives off the dock.
So it's honestly, it's 20 minutes of action. It's one car chase immediately followed by another car chase, and it's awesome. Then it's followed by 20 minutes of the two of them walking through the fucking desert.
Oh, remember?
And there's so much of them walking through the fucking desert.
Before that, do you remember when how they lose their van? So they go through this little outpost in the middle of the desert. Once again, like just killing everybody. But finally, like, this one guy with a rocket launcher manages to, like, shoot them and clearly blow up the van that they've been driving in. Clearly, they must be dead.
And they just cut to them just off to the side.
Yeah. Like,
being perfectly fine.
At least, like, 20 yards away from where the van blew up, even though we clearly saw them driving in the van. We never saw them bail or anything.
Now, the next 20 minutes of them just wandering through the desert, you might think that's totally boring. This is one of the most interesting deserts ever. First off,
Well, they meet the miner, the prospect.
So they're just wandering through the desert, and they come across this camp with a bunch of camels and a tent and a fire, and there's this diamond miner, I guess.
Drinking Jack Daniels from a bottle.
And he looks at them. He instantly knows who they are.
I know who you are, and I know who's looking for you.
News travels fast.
Yeah.
And you were so excited to tell me this because he's all like, you can sleep here for the night. And when they wake up, he's gone. He never comes back. We never find out who he was or how he knows them.
And Alyssa says, where's the miner? And like, yeah, that's a damn good question. Where the fuck is that guy?
You know what I think?
What?
I don't think he was ever there to begin. I think right in the middle of this dumb action movie, they just happened to stumble upon a phantom miner who
shared hallucination.
Died decades ago and just haunts the wastelands. Because how else would he know exactly who they are? Because he's omniscient. Because he knows everything that's going on. He knows exactly how this is going to play out.
Yeah, you would want at the end of the movie, you would want to see like a ghost, like astral projection of him waving from like a mountain or something, or from the clouds.
So they just, to get to where they need to go to do the thing, which I'm sure was explained, but I can't remember right now. They need to get Ernest Borgnine back, and they need to stop the bad guys. Yeah. That's really all you need to know about
what's important to know is that at this point, the German guy Eckhart has now sent 3 bounty hunters after.
My God, the bounty hunters. The bounty hunters. I'm not gonna say each time the bounty hunters are introduced, it gets progressively better, because they don't, because the second bounty hunter is my favorite.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about these bounty hunters.
Let's just talk about the bounty.
So, first bounty hunter has a bow and arrow, and he's waiting for them in like this ruined city that's nothing but walls, and he's up high, clearly visible from anyone
managed
who's like
to track them down in the middle of the fucking desert. Got the drop on them with the bow and arrow.
Waiting for them. Got the drop on. So they're like talking. They're about to fucking bone.
Yeah, they have like some half-ass flirting.
And all of a sudden, like an arrow just shoots in right between them. Fucking misses. They look out the window. He's dropped his fucking bow on the ground, and then just from behind him, he just jumps
out of nowhere
with a fucking, not a machete, it looked like one of like those plastic child's swords, like you got it like the dollar store, but like I'm a knight from the medieval times, but it was like an actual sword. Anyway, just
some weak little
someone's fucking letter opener.
Yeah,
and they just turn around and they just shoot him
point blank.
Because what else are you gonna do?
Crack
fucking. Bah! Bam! Yeah, of course you're dead, you fucking moron!
If that guy just kept his goddamn mouth shut, he would have, like, killed them both.
Well, he would have stabbed one of them, because all he had was his stupid fucking knife. Yeah. What sort of assassin mercenary just has a knife and a bow and arrow? If that's your MO, you better be fucking great at both of those things.
He's a specialist at those sort of things.
Yeah.
So then they encounter the second bounty hunter.
My God.
In the middle.
I wish we could just show you this scene, because there's no dialogue, so we really, we could play it, but it would not do it justice.
So let me just set the scene.
Try and explain it in as much detail as you can, Jameson.
So they're taking a breather against these rocks. All of a sudden, like a shot goes off, like from a sniper rifle that just missed his mark. They see the bounty hunter galloping towards them.
Is it a sniper rifle, or is it just a rifle?
It's like a hunting rifle, like a shotgun or something, or like.
Now I want you at home. I want you to imagine a bounty hunter. Just when I say a bounty hunter hired by like a German mercenary or whatever to take out the action heroes, think in your head what a bounty hunter looks like.
Yeah, not Boba Fett or Dog, but like, a very like a battle-hardened, like extremely like military fit, special ops looking kind of character.
Now I want you to imagine a high school chemistry teacher, because that's, I swear to God, so he comes riding through the desert on the back of this white horse. He's like a 60-year-old white man in like white pleats and like a white striped shirt, riding a horse through the desert with a fucking rifle, and it looks like he has no idea what he's doing, and spoiler alert, he fucking does it, because Brandon Lee fucking shoots him off the horse.
Every single shot he takes misses. Like, Kaz, have you ever shot a rifle before?
I have not.
Have you ever ridden a horse at full gallop before?
No. I imagine...
I have done each of those things once. I imagine combining the both would be fucking impossible. Why is it that bounty hunter's MO?
And also, it's the desert. It's the middle. They have no cover.
Mm-hmm.
It's the I imagine if you're a bounty hunter, you must be pretty good at firing a gun.
Yeah.
Not these guys. These guys can't hit shit, and there's nothing in the way.
And the guy falls off. The bounty hunter falls off his horse in like the most hilarious slow-mo, but like not.
I am gonna play this. I am gonna play the sound this guy makes when he falls off the horse because it's incredible. Listen. Everything about this scene I love. I love everything about this scene. This scene makes this a great fucking movie to watch. And then the third guy's pretty funny too.
Yeah, it's my favorite just because we like expectations are sky high. Like the first bounty hunter, he's an archer. The second guy, he's on a horse.
He's on a horse. He's shitty.
What's the third guy gonna? I think the third guy's just on foot. Like he just managed to walk after these.
Yeah, he's not even running after them. They just kind of turn around and they're on a dune and they turn around at the top of the hill and he just kind of saunters over like, hello.
He just kind of like,
hi, I'm here to kill you.
Not even that. Like he just kind of has his gun and just sort of like hustles after him. Anyways,
and it's like not in any sort of hurry whatsoever.
No pomp and circumstance.
He sees them. They see him. They're all aware of their presence, and they're all just kind of all like, shit. Yeah. All right, fine, fucking let's go. Let's do this. Fine, come on.
Michael Gold still manages to get the drop on him by burying himself in the sand, somehow unseen. And
totally. He absolutely had time to do that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And meanwhile, Alyssa presumably turns around and goes and finds the horse. Just somehow that ran away in the previous scene.
In the massive desert, wherever the fuck they are.
Totally. It was easy enough to find a white horse in the middle of the desert.
Been, like, wandering for hours, presumably. Anyways, they kill that guy, and then they ride into town. They check into a hotel, pose as husband and wife for whatever reason.
Because they're trying to find Eckhart.
But, they check into the hotel. Michael calls room service to presumably get their clothes dry cleaned.
This is a great line.
A great line that,
this
like,
is a great line.
I would love to try this out next time I'm checking into a hotel with my girlfriend, where, like, I call into room service, and he says, hello, room service, I need a suit and dress pressed and dry cleaned. How long will that take? 3 hours? Could you make that 5 hours?
And he looks right at her when he's saying it, under the impression that for those 2 extra hours, we're gonna fuck. But this is another moment where the timing of how the scene plays out doesn't make any sense. Because, so they get into the town or whatever, and it's like midday, and it's perfectly bright outside.
They were presumably in the desert like all morning, since they woke up from the miners' camp.
They must have been. So it must be sometime in the late afternoon.
Yeah, let's say they get to the hotel around like 1 p.m. or like 2 p.m.
And then he specifically says that
5 hours.
5 hours. It's going to take 5 hours to get these things cleaned.
Which has really got to back up the fucking dry cleaning service.
So they've been boning for 5 hours, and then it cuts to them post-coital. She goes to the door to get the dry cleaning, because that was a very important scene to include, that they got their dry cleaning back. And then she goes back to bed, and we can see out the window, it's the exact same time of day.
Yeah.
It's the exact same time of day. Logistically, for that much time to have passed, it must be the evening.
The sun's got to be setting around this point.
And there's no reason why they couldn't have made this an evening scene based on what's has to happen, because almost immediately Alyssa gets into a car and just starts chasing Kalishnikov because she sees them on a whim, seemingly.
She just happens to spy him, like, she looks out the window on a whim, sees him, like, rushing into the hotel, figures, like, I'm going to give him, like, the chase, or I'm going to give him the slip, keep him away from Michael Gold for whatever reason. Doesn't work. She winds up getting captured anyways and sets up a trap for Michael Gold.
Yeah, but when she gets captured, it's the middle of the night.
Yes.
So everyone is amazing at getting captured in this movie. Like, Michael Gold oh my god, in the middle of Africa sneaks into like this German
castle.
This German castle that I guess is like Eckhart's house or whatever. God, we didn't even talk about Eckhart showing Ernest Borgnine his room full of Madame Tussaud heads.
Yeah.
It's meant to be all like, these are the heads of my enemies, and you see them, and it's all like, you stole that from the Chamber of Horrors, you silly bitch.
It's clearly some like fake head, paper mache crap that you would get from like Spirit of Halloween. And
so Brandon Lee gets captured very easily, wakes up, tied to a chair across from Ernest Borgnine. This is another line that makes no sense. Brandon Lee comes to, Ernest Borgnine's all like, you came to save me. And Brandon Lee goes, yeah. And then Ernest Borgnine says, one dinosaur chasing another.
You know, that old hat.
What the fuck does that mean? I get that he's a dinosaur. Brandon Lee's
he's a fit young man.
He's a 20-year-old man. Like, what does that mean?
If it were a German expression, maybe lost in translation, but I'm pretty sure that's not a fucking German expression.
So,
one dinosaur to it.
This leads to, incidentally, the best fight scene and the worst fight scene in the entire movie. So
Eckhart, to give, I assume, Brandon Lee a fighting chance, uncuffs him, which is like, you know...
Well, he says, like, I give all of my intruders a fighting chance. Yeah.
Even though Michael Gold is clearly, like, taking care of, like, half the army working for him.
And there have been no scenes previous to this to show that Eckhart is a skilled fighter in any way whatsoever.
And after uncuffing him, leads him to a room full of weapons.
Leads him to a room filled with every conceivable weapon you could imagine. Guess how many of those weapons they end up using in that action scene?
None.
Not a single! Walls filled with knives and swords and, like, scimitars
and spears and halberds
guns and grenades and all the shit that we've seen previously being used. And I'm sitting there going, oh, this is going to be awesome. He decks Eckhart in the face. They chase each other upstairs.
Can we just point out that this is the son of Bruce Lee, and it's some of the worst fucking stage fighting I have ever seen.
And he's a trained martial artist as well.
He's like headbutting him, kneeing him in the groin, doing like wide haymakers, uppercuts.
By Bruce Lee.
Hammer fists. Like...
So, yeah, absolutely. No, Brandon Lee practiced martial arts his entire life. He's shown in his other movies that he knows how to do martial arts. He's not a good
It's like watching a saloon fight in a bad Western.
What's odd is that he clearly didn't do the fight choreography for this, but if you're going to hire Brandon Lee, why wouldn't you get him to do the fight choreography for this? So he chases Eckhart up a flight of stairs, cut immediately to them on the roof. Like there's not them going through a door.
Yeah.
It's cut immediately to
Rooftop
them
battle.
on the roof.
Big haymakers.
Both of them fall off of the roof. Eckhart impales himself on a spiked fence. Brandon Lee gets up and
all of a sudden
there's a ninja. Instant ninja.
Boom.
Instant ninja. It's like he's
random ninja.
One of the secondary villains of the movie is dead. You don't even get a second to acknowledge that. And it's not even. You know what? It's not even a ninja. It's like a dude in black pajamas wearing like a ski mask that has just one big hole.
Yeah.
And it's like...
well, I was going to say, he's not a very good ninja. Like,
no, he's...
And Brandon Lee kills him
kills him immediately.
With like a backbreaker.
Yeah, kills him immediately, yeah. And it's... Yeah, so it's like, oh, I'm going to fight like the secondary villain. Oh, he's dead. Oh, it's a ninja. Oh, he's dead.
Totally random ninja that shows up out of nowhere in the middle of the movie.
It's the weirdest boss fight from a video game that I've ever seen.
You know what? I will just insist that it is a ninja because I think the director had like this inkling. You know what? People can't. This movie may not be super popular. It may not win any awards. But god damn it, like people will never be able to say that this movie doesn't have a ninja in it.
Exactly.
So Michael Gold rescues
Ernest Borgnine, who has a character name, but we're not fucking. I barely remember.
I think it's Professor Braun or something.
Yes, Professor Braun.
Yeah, and then they decide to go to the diamond mine, the aforementioned diamond mine, where Alyssa is being held. Even though like they already have the diamond, like why did they take the diamond and leave the professor there? In the lair when because Eckhart was going to torture them, presumably.
because he's all fucked up and evil and German and everything.
Yeah, whatever.
But yeah, so Borgs and Brandon go to Borgs and Brandon together at last.
That's a shame they didn't do more movies together.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, it's
That'd
a natural screen pairing.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah, so Brandon Lee infiltrates the diamond mine, and he tries to get Alyssa tied away from a very rapey Kalishnikov.
Yeah, he spends.
It's getting super creepy.
He's throwing like random diamonds that he has lying around the office, like down her cleavage as she's tied up.
It's like, you need those.
Yeah.
That's the whole point, is you're building your super weapon, you need diamonds.
It's a pretty weird scene. I think like is she kind of into this?
There have been scenes earlier when she's driving the car and Brandon Lee is like firing out of the back of it. She looks utterly orgasmic.
Yeah.
Just driving this car.
Writhing in ecstasy.
She was just fucking that steering wheel. It's incredible.
She clearly gets turned on by danger.
I guess you could read maybe that was.
She's not into Kalishnikov at all, but I think she's like,
He's kidnapped her.
Yeah.
Tied her to a chair. Tried to kill her multiple times. Threatened her with a straight razor. Thrown diamonds at her tits. Clearly not into him at all. No.
Good point. Anyways, we're also reintroduced to Manuel and Roberta in this scene. Manuel, who is now spending the rest of the movie being like weirdly sexist and like, mansplainy to Roberta at this point in the movie.
Well, this was 1989. Mansplaining wasn't a term yet or anything like that.
Yeah,
they're just meant to be wacky.
Yeah. So they're working at like this slave camp in the diamond mine. She says she has a plan to escape, which really all like amounts to wait for Michael Gould to show up to cause a distraction, run away.
Maybe she did have a plan, and then when Michael Gould showed up, she's just like, "Oh, fuck the plan! Let's just fucking like roll! Let's get out of here."
I guess so. Everything else in her plan seemed to like hinge on like his involvement, though. Like they drove the Jeep away that he pulled up into the mine in. So it doesn't make any sense.
So Michael and Alyssa are taking out Kalishnikov. Meanwhile, Ernest Borgnine is just wandering around this battlefield, looking very lost, looking
very old,
looking very tired,
very not action ready.
No, not like there are moments where you see him like wandering around with a rifle, and he manages to shoot a couple of people. This German scientist who is not like combat prepared whatsoever, he just has like
dopes around.
He's just kind of derping around, and then like a soldier will kind of like wander into his eye line, wait for his cue, and then Ernest Borgnine remembers, all right, and then he shoots him
kind
and
of
he
gestures
falls
the gun
back.
at the guy. Yeah.
God, and you're just watching this, and you're just like, I know you can do it. You were in the Wild Bunch, god damn it. And he's just like, I'm old, I want to sit down.
Don't blame Ernest Borgnine. Blame B.J. Bo Davis for not having a proper stuntman to work with.
And they had a stand-in who looked like Ernest Borgnine.
Probably around for his stunts.
Exactly. They should have. Oh man.
During the big like prison camp riot escape scene, Kalishnikov manages to shoot Michael Gould, and he goes down, which is like something I have never seen in an action movie before, where the hero gets shot in the back and he falls to the ground. Is he dead? Turns out he's not.
I'd wager I've seen that actually quite a bit.
Oh, really?
I feel like that's actually kind of a bit of a cliche in action movies, is near the climax, the hero does get shot.
Maybe it's more or less shocking for me because for the first time ever in this movie, someone gets shot and doesn't immediately die.
Exactly. That was what I thought too. It's like it looks like to me in this universe that we're in, bullets kill instantly. But Brandon Lee gets like this bleeding gut wound, and to the film's credit, like this is a thing that I saw this happen in Rampage recently, where the villain shoots Dwayne Johnson, and he's all like and like they like escape briefly, and then like half a scene later he meets them on the roof, and it's just like, weren't you just shot? He's all like, fuck it, and he's doing everything, and it's never mentioned again that he has a bullet in him. To be fair, Brandon Lee is limping for the rest of the movie, and it does look like he's in quite a bit of pain. So I'll give that movie the smallest amount of credit.
So Alyssa managed to break free while Kalishnikov wasn't there. She apprehends Kalishnikov and sort of like keeps him at bay while Michael Gould goes to like disable a bomb in the mine or something.
I guess that's what was doing.
Yeah, well, the plan was to like put the slaves inside the mine and blow it up. For
But okay, so
whatever
but like
reason.
here's this is my question: is that their plan is they got Ernest Borgnine and they need either one massive diamond or a whole bunch of diamonds. I'm still not sure about that. But anyway, the point is they have a whole shitload of diamonds, and then Kalishnikov says, "You know what? This is probably enough diamonds. Put all the slaves in the diamond mine and then blow the whole thing up." If you have a weapon that can start World War III and you have the ability to like bargain for like whatever you want in the entire world, why would you blow up your diamond mine?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just continue to farm diamonds?
That's a steady source of income.
And then
right
you'd
there.
have a ton of diamonds, an army of slaves, and a world-threatening nuclear weapon.
Yeah.
Kalishnikov is stupid. He's a stupid villain. He's not good at his job. Surprisingly hard to kill, though.
Yes.
Yes. He comes back after being shot.
Yeah.
After being shot.
Falling down a mine shaft.
Crawling back up.
Getting exploded when the bomb that Michael Gould did not disarm.
Them. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the bomb goes off and he explodes into like a fiery thing, and it's all like, that was a good fake out. Very end of the movie, comes back one more time, just barely held together, just a mess of just mangled, shredded flesh, and he's still firing at them, and you just go, oh, fuck off.
Anyways, he finally dies when Michael Gould runs him over with a jeep into a brick wall.
But at that point, it's like, why would that kill him?
Yeah,
we've seen him survive way worse than that.
He's essentially like the Soviet Terminator.
But whatever, that's the end of it.
That's not the end of it.
Let's talk about the last stupid thing that fucking happens.
So, plot twist. It turns out that Alyssa,
I also want to point out. Sorry, before we do this, when during I think the first time Kalishnikov dies, he's got Alyssa. He's pointing a gun at Alyssa, and Brandon Lee's pointing a gun at him. It's all like, "How'd you say in your American movies, a Mexican standoff?" That's not what a Mexican standoff is.
He says in an American movie, the hero would have a well-placed shot, even though it meant risking the girl. As he's saying that, Michael Gould shoots him. Anyways, at this point, Ernest Borgnine, he gets reunited with his daughter, but plot twist. It's actually not really his daughter, after all.
Even though that means nothing. That means nothing to the plot. She didn't even need to be his daughter. She could have just been another agent.
And, the movie makes a point to say that, hey, she is another agent. They classify her as KGB, but it turns out at the end she works for the CIA. Why the fuck did they say that she's KGB?
I have no idea why they said KGB. And
we heard it. We both heard it.
Apparently it was an important enough plot point that they put it in the synopsis of the movie.
Yeah.
Right?
Anyways, the two CIA handlers land a helicopter into the scene. Braun's real daughter shows up, and they're reunited.
No lines.
No lines whatsoever.
No lines. Just, yeah.
Yeah, and then the two Cuban bumbling military officers who have turned tail and are now on the side of good.
Just on a whim.
Steal a helicopter.
And it's meant to be all like, what blurb?
Everybody has a
Everyone laughs like it's the end of a fucking sitcom. I expected it to freeze frame and just be all like executive producer Michael J. Cannell. Stephen J. Cannell. Anyway.
But yeah, it's all played for yucks as the two CIA agents go afterwards.
And then Kalishnikov comes back.
Yeah, and that's when he's killed with the fucking Jesus, this movie. And the last line of the movie.
They should have stolen the helicopter. Freeze framed,
and then credits roll.
And then the credits roll. Then the credits roll. The credits start to roll, and then Kalishnikov comes back. Ah!
Yeah.
It's like
what a fake out. Okay, so the last lines of the movie.
Do you want to play them?
Yeah.
Let's just play them. Okay, so Brandon Lee.
No, the only loose end to tie up is
who has the diamond?
What happened to the diamond?
What happened to the
diamond?
Of the movie? This is how the movie ends.
Do you have the diamond?
That depends on who's asking.
Well, whoever has it will have a strong bargaining position.
I got it.
But who's the rightful owner?
You're looking at him.
Michael Gould, the big hero, winds up taking the diamond for himself.
It's who has the diamond?
I
got the diamond.
But who's the rightful owner?
Me. And that.
He's a mercenary, man.
That symbolizes perfectly how this movie feels. It feels like it's a bunch of children playing spies.
Yes.
Because this movie is filled with that sort of dialogue where it's all like, who's gonna get the gun? I'm gonna shoot the guy in the face. You're so irritating. You're a bitch. I got the diamond. And it's just like, it's a bunch of petulant children saying shit that doesn't make any sense because they're making it up off the top of your head.
It's their effort to make like a James Bond movie without any of the elements that make James Bond iconic or cool.
Okay, so speaking about James Bond, we have to start wrapping up, but there are two things that are Bond related that I know you want to talk about. First of all, I know you've been itching to talk about this. Laser Mission has a theme song. You guys.
Does it ever?
Oh my gosh.
Written by David Knopfler, brother of Mark Knopfler.
Of maybe Dire Straits fame, we're not sure.
Yeah.
I think maybe, I don't know, he must have done something with Dire Straits.
Yeah. It doesn't matter because he wrote Mercenary Man.
Mercenary Man.
The theme song to...
Which you hear during...
Not once.
During the opening credits of this song.
Not twice.
And then all throughout the rest of the movie.
Periodically, it keeps interjecting. Like, scenes are undercut with the Mercenary Man theme.
And all of the scenes are different. Like, it underscores a car chase at one point, and you know what? Like, let's put on a little Mercenary Man. Let's let this play out. And here, can we find out what the rights are to Mercenary Man? Can Mercenary Man
be played in its entirety?
No, can Mercenary Man be the theme music to The Fuck Is This? I seriously want to look into that and see how much the rights to Mercenary Man
I'm sure if we call up like BJ Bo Davis,
because that's a thought that just occurred to me right now. I'm 100% serious about this. If we're on like episode 6 and it starts up and Mercenary Man starts playing,
we've done it.
We've arrived.
Yeah,
we've
so
arrived.
Listen to the first clips of this song, if you will.
In the violence of the night, where you hear the siren scream, he only knows where he is going to. It's like a dream within a dream. His heart beats like a hammer.
I looked up the lyrics to Mercenary Man not too long ago.
Yeah.
So the only resource that I could find says, I swear to God. So like there's the opening part, like, in the violence of the night, you can hear a silent scream. Only one thing, inaudible due to saxophone solo. In parentheses.
Which is, there is so much saxophone in this song, and it's like hot jazz saxophone, and it's playing over cars exploding and going off of ramps, and it doesn't fit. It's so clearly a song designed to fuck to, and there's no sex scene in this movie.
No.
Like, there's a scene where it's all like, oh, they're gonna bow, but we only ever see
from the neck up.
Coital thing, and you have
actually,
like this...
like from the jawline.
Yeah, you have this hot saxophone riff that like plays for a long fucking time. You don't have anyone boning over that? What's going on, BJ? You're like
not enough BJ.
Not living up to your name at all.
But yeah, that song plays about like 5 or 6 times throughout the movie. Perfect for a drinking game.
Just comes out. Oh yeah, just comes out of nowhere. Sometimes, like, it creeps up on you too. Like they get out of the desert and they're both riding on horseback and they're just riding into town. Yeah, and it just really silently comes up. It's all like, in the violence of the night.
He's a mercenary man.
Mercenary man, get out of here, you son of a bitch.
I love that song.
I legitimately love that song.
Put me in a good mood whenever I hear it.
I gotta find. I'm making that my mission now, is to try and make that the official song of this podcast. The other thing that is so clearly influenced by James Bond, like I mentioned at one point, like he gets into a tuxedo. Now we talked about this last time on the show, where we talked about the box art to Reach Me, and I showed you the theatrical poster of Reach Me and how wildly different it was. We're going to do the same thing here. We'll include the link. This is, if not
unquestionably more badass.
This is one of the posters. I don't know if this was like, I don't know if this was the theatrical poster, because I don't know if this movie even had a theatrical release anywhere at any time, but this is a poster that was made up for it. It is...
Brandon Lee and Alyssa looking sexy as hell in their tuxedo and her blue dress.
I want this on my wall.
That would look amazing.
Just so, yeah, it's undeniably a James Bond poster. Brandon Lee in a tuxedo, pointing the gun right at the watcher.
She's got like a
she's got her
holster.
her blue dress on. Her thigh holster, and then there's a diamond right in the middle of it, and shining out of that diamond is the cherubic face of Ernest Borgnine.
And he's got kind of like a kind of face, like
looking wise beyond his years.
Yeah, looking at his face like as you're pitching him the movie idea.
Fan-fucking-tastic.
Other things that happen is a sweet fucking drop kick.
I think that's meant to be Eckhart. I think that's him drop kicking him off.
Even though the only person he drop kicks in the movie is... Actually, zoom in on that one more time.
I'm pretty sure that's Eckhart.
Yeah. Is that a fire truck? Like an old-timey fire truck? No, that's just like a
military... No, that's just a Jeep filled with military people and whatnot.
Like in the background art, there's a car and there's a helicopter.
So much better. I mean, like, there's just a variety of, like, different, like, covers here.
Yeah, just, like, a lot of, like,
none of
headshots of, holy shit, that's the exact same box art
as
the... But look, no, the exact same like model with him and his muscle shirt, but not the same background. Oh my god!
I'm gonna read.
There's a treasure trove of laser mission posters.
I'm gonna read the taglines for some of these because they all have different taglines. Okay?
Look at where that target indicator is. It's somewhere in Africa.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. That confirms it. This is the tagline for this one. Lee must traverse a deadly African desert to rescue a laser expert kidnapped by the Soviets. Now that's not a tagline.
No, that's a synopsis.
That's a synopsis, but what is it doing on the cover where a tagline should be? This one's much better.
This time, Lee must travel to Africa to rescue a German scientist.
This one's much better. A secret agent, a beautiful accomplice, a daring mission to prevent World War III, one thrilling adventure.
Yeah, that's
a tagline. Here's another one that's like an entire sentence.
That looks like they recreated the original.
This is a really good one.
Yeah.
This is like the VHS cover where they're clearly here. His assignment: find the world's most dangerous laser weapon or take the heat.
Her assignment: turn up the heat.
I've changed my mind. This is my favorite poster. We're gonna include all of these.
Yeah,
all of these are worth looking at.
Laser Mission is the gift that keeps on giving.
All of these are just a trove of utter delights. I know your answer to this question. I'm just gonna answer my own question. Guys, watch Laser Mission.
Yes,
I was thoroughly entertained from beginning to end. It's a short watch. It never dips at any point in time. It's consistently entertaining.
I highly recommend this movie if you can find it.
Could not recommend it any higher.
Yeah, there's clearly like some budget behind it, even though like it went all towards like the stunts and like maybe, I don't know, desert catering, because like the camera quality and the audio equipment for sure are just fucking terrible. But like the action scenes are quite good. The dialogue is atrocious. Everyone seems to be having a great time in the movie, and it has a ninja in it. So like if that's your thing, there's a fucking ninja in it and a repetitive song about mercenaries.
I'm just gonna point out one little bit of trivia. There's only one little bit of trivia here on IMDb that's worth mentioning, but I feel like it's the perfect bit of trivia to close out this episode. Do you know who originally was considered for the role of Michael Gold?
No, who?
David Hasselhoff.
Oh my god.
We could have been watching the exact same movie with David. Nothing would be different if you cast Bruce Campbell, it would be a completely different movie. If you cast David Hasselhoff, it would be the same goddamn movie. I don't know if this movie really benefited from having Brandon Lee in it. I will say he got by the time. It is a shame that The Crow was his last movie, because by the time he got to The Crow, yeah, he had figured the acting thing out. He's legitimately great in that movie.
I think like having David Hasselhoff in it, there's like an air of cheesiness that you go in there expecting.
Yeah.
Because he kind of carries himself that way.
Yeah.
With Brandon Lee, you didn't really know what you were going to get out of this. In fact, I bet you were thinking like, oh, well, there's probably going to be like some decent fight scenes in it. And the fight scenes that he's in, he's quite lame.
You weren't expecting something this bad. Exactly. You see this DVD like you did, and you're like, oh, like Brandon Lee, The Crow. Yeah, absolutely. Brandon Lee's fucking awesome. You expect a certain level of competency,
Mhm.
and you're delightfully surprised
Mhm.
by how not competent all of this is. Him included.
Mhm.
I will maintain he's fucking terrible in this. But he was like, I don't know, probably like 21 and had no
Yeah.
fucking idea what he was doing.
He's clearly having like too much fun.
Oh, he's
playing
having a
this
great
role.
time. He's having a great time. Everyone looked like they were having a great time. Ernest Borgnine looked kind of tired.
Yeah.
At one point, it looked like maybe he like just needed like a chair.
Probably thinking
But-
like, can I just play an American?
Yeah.
Because like everyone who I was already assuming is my daughter in this movie is clearly American, not doing a German accent whatsoever.
It was fantastic. Well, I think that's all the time we have for tonight. Thank you once again for listening to us ramble on and on and on. Do you have anything you want to add there, Jameson?
I'm a mercenary man. Mercenary man. Mercenary man.
I swear, like, someone... You saw MacGruber, right?
Yes.
Someone who wrote MacGruber must have seen Laser Mission at some point.
It's
in time.
definitely in that vein.
It has to be. All right, thanks a lot, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in.
We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.